Hello and welcome to Unit 2 in our Modern Latin American History class. As is all too often the case with our class, we have a lot of ground to cover in not very much time. Since this is our first unit in terms of the regular pattern of things, let me just comment briefly on how the scheduling works. During this first week of the unit, you will want to read through all of the assigned readings. There are always 3 bullet-pointed readings in a list, and then sometimes an optional reading as well, which obviously is optional. There's a Chasteen reading, there's a reading from the Wood Book, and then there will be a journal article as well. During each unit, you'll have to read through all of that material, view the videos that are included, and then post reading tweets by the first Friday at midnight. So you have the entire week to get your reading done. Reading tweets will help you in terms of picking out key ideas, kind of taking brief notes, and then those assignments will prepare you for everything you'll be doing next week. So in the second week of the unit, you'll complete your reading worksheet. You always complete a worksheet on one of the assigned bullet-pointed readings. So for example, for this unit, you will complete a worksheet on the Chasteen reading only. Then next time, it'll be on the Wood reading, and then the following unit will be on the journal article. So you'll only focus on one of the 3 readings for the worksheet each time, but those worksheets are there to help you think critically about your reading in a lot more depth and to analyze authors' perspectives and arguments and ideas in both secondary and primary sources. So that's just an idea of what those are all about. The discussion board rules are laid out, so please read through those again. You'll complete that during the second week of the unit, and then each unit ends up with a journal entry, and there are also descriptions about that. So if you have any questions about what is required for any of those things, please let me know as soon as you can. Always ask questions, use my email, whether here in Blackboard, my CNM email account, or you can also text me at the Google Voice number that's listed in the syllabus. Also remember that Leanne will be working with you on the discussion board from this point forward in the course. So if you have any questions specifically about the discussion, please direct those to her. Her contact information is also listed in the syllabus as well as in the instructor information section here in Blackboard. This unit will be looking at independence movements in Latin America, and we'll be looking at what Chasteen refers to as the post-colonial blues. In other words, after independence, the difficult question of how to build nations or nation states, and we can hopefully talk more about what the distinction between those 2 terms is as we go along. But people who had won independence were all of a sudden faced with, what do we do now? How do we put together a nation? How do we deal with the devastation that's taken place from the wars that we just fought in order to gain our independence? How do we pay back the debts that we've incurred to foreign nations, principally Great Britain and France? How do we get everyone on the same page in terms of recognizing our leadership as legitimate in order to move forward? And of course, as we've been talking about in Unit 1, Latin America is a vast and wide-ranging region, meaning that it covers a lot of different places in terms of geography and climate, topography. It also includes many different cultures, both stemming from indigenous cultures as well as the types of societies that developed in different places throughout the region following the conquest of, or I should say by primarily Spanish and Portuguese empires. Those legacies are still with Latin America, and they were still important during the independence period. So keep in mind as you read through the efforts of independence leaders like Bolivar, or those in Mexico, including Hidalgo and Morelos, What were their goals for independence? Why didn't they quite come to fruition? How were liberal ideals from the European Enlightenment brought into independence movements, and the ways in which those people attempted to build nations, and excuse me, and then finally think about the different ways in which independence came about, why it meant different things in different places. As I mentioned in the written intro here, in Mexico and Peru specifically, independence became a conservative goal, at least in the immediate short term under which independence was gained in both of those places. So what does that mean? Why was that the case? And then who were these people called caudillos? We have people like Rosas in Argentina and Santa Anna in Mexico that stand as a sort of archetypical caudillo leadership from mid-19th century Latin America. Who were the caudillos? And as you read through the section in Wood in chapter 3, so those last 3 readings in the Wood book in chapter 3, how have scholars thought about caudillos differently over time? So for a long time, they're seen as opportunistic, brutal warlords. Then they're seen as cultural heroes more recently. That's the perspective given by Ariel de la Fuente. And what kinds of tools did caudillos use to give legitimacy to their rule, to keep people on their side in contests over who was going to be in charge of a given country? And what was the implication of caudillo leadership for Latin American nations, within their own nations and also on the world stage? So hopefully that's a lot to think about and consider as you move along through Unit 2. Please let me know whenever you have questions, and I'll be more than happy to help out. And I look forward to studying the independence and early post-independence periods with you.